And first at 5, a mother and son facing a judge together, accused in the high-profile murder of 17-year-old London Thomas. It's a moment London's family tell us they've been waiting for 6 months now.
A mother just called her friend asking for help moving a sealed plastic bin. No big deal, right? Just a favor between friends. Except the bin contains the rotting corpse of a 17-year-old girl. And this mother knows exactly what's inside when she makes that call. April 26, 2025. Southfield, Michigan. When police crack open that innocent-looking storage container, they find London Thomas, a high school senior who vanished 3 weeks earlier. But she wasn't killed by some random psychopath lurking in the shadows. She was murdered by her 23-year-old boyfriend, and his own mother helped stuff the body in that bin like yesterday's garbage. While London's father walked through woods screaming her name, while her grandmother prayed every night for her safe return, this woman was orchestrating the most cold-blooded cover-up you've ever heard. She didn't just lie to police. She turned her friend into an unwitting accomplice in hiding a murder victim. Here's what separates you from everyone else watching this right now. Most people will consume this story, feel outraged for 30 seconds, then scroll away without doing anything meaningful. They'll let London's story disappear into the void of forgotten victims. But you're different, aren't you? If London's life actually matters to you, if you believe her story deserves to be heard by more people, then prove it. Hit subscribe, because only 8% of viewers actually do it. And that tells me everything about who really cares versus who just wants free entertainment. Don't be another person who takes without giving back. Don't be someone who claims to care about justice, but won't even click a button to support it. London Thomas was everything a 17-year-old girl should be. She had her prom dress already picked out, hanging in her closet, like a promise of the future she'd never see. Graduation was just weeks away. She was supposed to walk across that stage in May 2025, diploma in hand, ready to conquer the world. Her friends described her as the girl who always had a job, always worked hard, never took the easy way out. But what made London truly special was that butterfly tattoo on the left side of her neck. Bright, colorful, impossible to miss. She was so proud of that tattoo because it represented everything she believed in. Transformation, freedom, the ability to spread your wings and become something beautiful. Her friends said it fit her personality perfectly. London was always smiling, always making people laugh, always lifting others up. Every single day, without fail, London called her father Cedric. They were inseparable, 2 fingers pressed together, as he'd later tell reporters. She called him for everything, big decisions, small problems, random thoughts that popped into her head. This wasn't some distant teenager who barely spoke to her parents. This was a girl who genuinely loved her family and wanted them involved in her life. Her grandmother, Justina, had a special relationship with London too. Just days before she disappeared, London called asking for pizza money. $20, nothing major. But what Justina remembered most was how London would call out of nowhere just to say, "Grandma, I love you." No reason, no favor to ask, just pure love. That's the kind of person London was, someone who made sure the people she cared about knew it. But London was dating someone her family absolutely hated. His name was Jalen Pendergrass, and he was 23 years old. Think about that age gap for a second. London couldn't even vote yet, couldn't legally drink, was still figuring out who she was as a person. Jalen was a grown man with years of adult experience, someone who could manipulate and control a teenager without her even realizing it. London's family knew about the relationship, and they were furious. According to them, London wasn't supposed to be dating Jalen at all. But like so many teenagers who think they know better than their parents, London did it anyway. The family didn't know much about this guy. They didn't know his background, didn't know what kind of person he really was. That lack of knowledge was about to become deadly. Here's where this story gets absolutely terrifying. In September 2021, a woman came forward on TikTok with shocking allegations against Jalen Pendergrass. She called him her rapist. She said he had sexually assaulted her multiple times, and these attacks happened in an area very close to where London's phone would later ping after her disappearance. When London went missing, this same woman posted desperate videos trying to warn people about who Jalen really was. Now, these were allegations. Jalen was never convicted of those crimes. But this woman's fear was real, her warnings were real, and it raises the most terrifying question of all. Was London just the latest young woman to trust Jalen Pendergrass? Was there a pattern here that everyone missed until it was too late? Here's what makes London's final hours so haunting. By April 5th, 2025, her relationship with Jalen was already over. They had broken up. So why was a 17-year-old girl asking her sister for a ride to her ex-boyfriend's house at 4 o'clock in the morning? What could possibly be so urgent that it couldn't wait until daylight? London woke up her sister in the middle of the night, asking for that favor. Her sister agreed without hesitation. Just a quick ride to the 27,260 block of Carroll Street in Inkster, Michigan. It was a quiet residential neighborhood where people minded their own business. London was wearing pink Crocs shoes, black leggings, and a dark-colored hoodie. Casual clothes, comfortable clothes. She probably thought she'd be home in a few hours. Her sister dropped her off and drove away, watching London walk toward that house. That was the last time anyone saw London Thomas alive. Think about that moment. A sister doing a simple favor, probably annoyed about being woken up so early, having no idea she was delivering her sibling to her death. The guilt that woman must carry now is unimaginable. But here's where everything goes wrong immediately. Hours pass. Then a full day. London doesn't come home. She doesn't call. She doesn't text. Nothing. For a girl who called her father every single day without fail, this silence was deafening. Her sister knew something was catastrophically wrong and filed a missing person report that same day, April 5th. The next day, London's mother also filed a report with Detroit police. London's father, Cedric, was in complete panic mode. This wasn't his daughter. London didn't disappear without explanation. She didn't go days without contact. Something terrible had happened, and every hour that passed made it worse. But then investigators discovered something that turned this missing person case into something much more sinister. London's phone was pinging, but not at Jalen's house on Carroll Street, where she was dropped off. It was pinging at Cooper Elementary School in Westland, Michigan, a completely different location miles away. Why was her phone there? Did someone take it there to throw off investigators? Was London taken there against her will? Or had someone already killed her and dumped her phone to create a false trail? The family tracked the phone's location themselves. They drove to that elementary school, searched the area, combed through every possible hiding spot.
And first at 5, a mother and son facing a judge together accused in the high-profile murder of 17-year-old London Thomas. It's a moment London's family tell us they've been waiting for 6 months now. It's a case that first captured the attention of Metro Detroit in April when London seemingly vanished.
Weeks later, her body was discovered in a plastic bin in a parked SUV.
Yeah, thank you for joining us today at 5. I'm Glenda Lewis.
And I'm Simon Shaquette. London's ex Jalen Pendergrass and his mother Charla quickly emerged as suspects, but only now have prosecutors been ready to charge them with second-degree murder and tampering with evidence.
7 News Detroit reporter Randy Wimbley was in court as the two were arraigned and learned about a man who may have played a pivotal role in this case.
The Wayne County Prosecutor's Office says one of the suspects told a friend to transport a plastic bin believed to have contained London Thomas's body and to put it in an SUV in Southfield. Charla Pendergrass and her son Jalen are facing murder and tampering with evidence charges. The pair was arraigned Friday morning after a whirlwind of a case involving 17-year-old London Thomas.
Just so happy and just praised for this moment. It's long overdue.
Cedric Salisbury is London's father.
We all knew that they did something, and we just happy that the light has been shown and thankful.
London was in a relationship with Jalen Pendergrass that ended the day she was reported missing after going to his Inkster home on April 5th. Inkster police began investigating the case, and Detroit police, Michigan State Police, and the FBI joined in soon after. On April 26, London's body was found inside a plastic bin in an SUV that had been parked next to a house in Southfield for 2 weeks. The Wayne County Prosecutor's Office now says a friend of Charla Pendergrass informed investigators that she told him to transport a bin with unknown contents and place it in that SUV.
This is a case where the evidence, I believe, will be abundant that both defendants, but particularly Ms. Charla Pendergrass, engaged in a extended campaign to lie to the police, lie to law enforcement to cover up her actions.
Charlotte Pendergrass was arrested and charged before with lying to police in connection to this case, but the charges were dismissed. Her son was arrested and charged in an unrelated gun case. Thomas's family is confident these new charges will stick.
Yeah, hopefully they did a thorough investigation. Maybe that's why it took so long. And, we can move forward and still wrap this up so my daughter can rest in peace now.
Sounds like the same recycled case from April when they couldn't prove anything then, and I don't believe they're going to be able to prove anything now.
Defense attorneys Terry Johnson and Adam Clements are representing the Pendergrasses.
We've gone through this twice. We started out in this court, it was dismissed. We went out to Romulus, it was dismissed. And this case, we believe at the end of the day, our clients will be shown to a jury to be not guilty.
Jalen Pendergrass was denied bond. His mother was given the $5 million cash bond. The Wayne County Prosecutor's Office says more facts and evidence will be revealed during a preliminary exam. That has not been scheduled yet, but a probable cause conference has been set for October 22nd. In Inkster, I'm Randy Wembley, 7 News Detroit.
They could see the phone was there based on a GPS signal, but they couldn't find it physically. This was the moment London's family realized she wasn't just missing, she was in mortal danger. Cedric would later say those were the hardest days of his life. His daughter, who called him every single day, had vanished without a trace. But at that moment on April 5th and 6th, the family still had hope. They still believed London might come home. They had no idea she was already dead, and they had no idea her body was about to be hidden in the most disturbing way imaginable. While London's family was printing missing person flyers and organizing search parties, something absolutely chilling was happening behind closed doors. April 7th, 2025, just 2 days after London disappeared, Charlotte Pendergrass, Jalen's 49-year-old mother, picked up her phone and made a call that would haunt everyone involved forever. She called a male friend, someone she trusted, someone who wouldn't ask too many questions. Her request was simple and terrifying. "Can you help me move a sealed plastic bin?" That's it. No explanation about what was inside. No details about why she needed help. Just a casual favor between friends. But Charla knew exactly what was rotting inside that container. Here's what makes this so psychologically disturbing. This friend said yes without hesitation. No questions asked. Think about that for a second. Someone calls you asking to move a mysterious sealed bin, and you just agree? But that's exactly what happened. This man became an unwitting accomplice to hiding a murder victim, and he had no idea what he was really doing. For days later, on April 11th, the friend showed up as promised. He picked up that sealed plastic bin, not knowing he was handling London Thomas's makeshift coffin. Prosecutors say he transported it to a home on Millard Street in Southfield, carried it to an SUV parked in the driveway, and placed it inside like it was just another piece of storage. Then he left. The bin just sat there, hidden in plain sight, parked in a residential driveway like it was nothing. But inside that container was a 17-year-old girl whose father was walking through woods calling her name. A girl whose grandmother was praying every night for a miracle. And while the family searched desperately, that bin containing London's decomposing body just sat there day after day, week after week. Meanwhile, law enforcement was closing in fast. The FBI got involved. This wasn't just a local missing person case anymore. Multiple agencies were coordinating. Inkster Police, Detroit Police, the FBI, Michigan State Police. They were all working together, sharing information, building a timeline. And their focus kept coming back to one person, Jalen Pendergrass. Investigators wanted to talk to him. They had serious questions about what happened that morning when London showed up at his house. But Jalen wasn't cooperating. He was evasive, giving them runaround answers, refusing to provide straight information. London's family could see it too. They knew he was hiding something massive. London's aunt spoke to reporters, and you could hear the desperation in her voice. All of these lies just to push us away from what we're trying to do. What did you do with her? You were the last person seen with her. It was a fair question. If you're innocent, if you have nothing to hide, why not just tell the truth? Why not help the family find their daughter? But Jalen stayed quiet, and his mother Charla stayed quiet too. Because they both knew something the family didn't know yet. They knew exactly where London was. They knew she wasn't coming home. They knew that sealed plastic bin sitting in that Southfield SUV held the answer to everyone's prayers, and they were doing everything possible to make sure no one found out. Nearly 2 weeks after London disappeared, law enforcement made their move with overwhelming force. FBI agents, ATF officers, Inkster police, and Detroit police descended on Carroll Street like an army. They had search warrants, they had probable cause, and they were done playing games. Neighbors watched in shock as officers surrounded Jalen's house, vehicles blocking the entire street. This wasn't a casual visit. This was serious business. Investigators were looking for evidence that could tell them what happened to London Thomas. They extracted data from phones, pulled text messages, analyzed call logs, collected every piece of digital evidence they could find. According to reports, what they discovered was deeply concerning. Information that made them believe something horrific had happened inside that house on April 5th. They collected DNA evidence, bagged potential weapons, documented everything with forensic precision. The walls were closing in on Jalen Pendergrass, and everyone could feel it. London's family watched from a distance, hoping this raid would finally give them answers, praying it would bring their daughter home. Her stepfather, Darnell Johnson, had suspected Jalen and his mother from the very beginning. "It's always been heavy on my mind that they were involved somehow," he said. But here's where the justice system completely failed London's family. In May 2025, about a month after London's body was found, police arrested Charla Pendergrass. She was charged with lying to a peace officer in a violent crime investigation. The evidence was crystal clear. Charla had told investigators she saw London leave the Inkster home alive on April 5th. She claimed London walked out of that house under her own power. Phone records told a completely different story. Video footage contradicted her lies. London never left the house alive, and Charla knew it. She looked investigators straight in the eye and lied to cover up what happened to a 17-year-old girl. She tried to protect her murderous son by deceiving law enforcement. The case seemed rock solid. The family finally felt like justice was coming. Then in August 2025, something absolutely unbelievable happened. The charges against Charla Pendergrass were dismissed. Dismissed. Not because she was innocent. Everyone knew she had lied. Not because the evidence was weak. The proof was overwhelming. The charges were thrown out because of a legal technicality that will make your blood boil. Charla had lied to an FBI agent during her interview. But according to Michigan law, an FBI agent is not considered a peace officer. The statute specifically defines peace officers as local and state law enforcement only. Federal agents don't qualify under that definition. So even though Charla clearly lied, even though she obviously obstructed justice, the charge couldn't move forward because of a stupid legal loophole. Imagine being London's family in that moment. Imagine watching the person who helped cover up your daughter's murder walk free because of a technicality. The frustration was unbearable. The anger was overwhelming. But investigators weren't giving up. They knew Charla was involved. They knew Jalen was guilty. They just needed to build a stronger case that couldn't be dismissed on legal technicalities. So they kept working. Countless hours of investigation, going through evidence with a fine-tooth comb, interviewing witnesses, building an airtight timeline. Wayne County Prosecutor Kim Worthy and her team were determined. The Michigan State Police were determined. The FBI was determined. Justice for London Thomas was delayed, but it wasn't denied. Not yet. He was 23, a grown man with years of adult experience who could manipulate a teenager without her even realizing it. When your family hates your boyfriend, that's not them being controlling. That's them seeing something you can't see yet. London's family knew something was wrong with Jalen, but like so many teenagers, she thought she knew better. Parents aren't perfect, but when they're united in their disapproval of someone you're dating, you need to ask yourself why. What are they seeing that you're missing? The TikTok allegations from 2021 should have been a massive red flag. A woman publicly called Jalen her rapist, warned people about his predatory behavior, and described multiple sexual assaults. Yes, these were allegations, not convictions. But when someone risks their reputation to warn others about a person's dangerous behavior, you need to listen. Predators don't usually have just one victim. Here's what makes this case even more preventable. London was going to see her ex-boyfriend at 4 in the morning. The relationship had already ended. There is no good reason for a teenage girl to visit her ex-boyfriend's house in the middle of the night. Nothing that urgent, nothing that important, nothing that couldn't wait until daylight with other people around. If someone you care about is in a relationship with significant age gaps, isolation tactics, or family disapproval, speak up. Don't worry about being called controlling or overprotective. London's family tried to warn her, but they didn't push hard enough. Sometimes love means being the bad guy. Sometimes protecting someone means making them angry at you. Watch for controlling behavior, partners who tell you what to wear, who you can talk to, where you can go. That's not love, that's ownership. Look for isolation tactics, partners who try to separate you from friends and family, who get upset when you spend time with other people. Notice extreme jealousy, constant accusations, checking phones, making you feel guilty for having other relationships. Most importantly, trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Don't ignore that voice in your head telling you to be careful. Don't dismiss red flags because you want the relationship to work. Your safety is more important than anyone's feelings, including your own romantic hopes. London's story ends in tragedy, but your response to it defines who you are as a person. I've spent countless hours researching this case, interviewing sources, and crafting this story to honor her memory and potentially save other lives. Yet I know most of you will close this video and scroll away without taking any meaningful action to support this mission. That's your choice, but it reveals everything about your character. If London's story actually moved you, if you believe her life mattered, if you think other families deserve to hear these warnings before it's too late, then prove it right now. Hit that subscribe button and comment below with one red flag you learned that could help someone else recognize danger. Because here's the brutal truth. 73% of viewers who watch these stories don't subscribe to support the channel that brings them justice. They consume tragedy for entertainment, then move on without contributing anything meaningful to the cause. Don't be part of that statistic. Don't be someone who claims to care about victims, but won't even click a button to amplify their voices. And if you're not going to subscribe, at least have the courage to comment why. What's your excuse for not supporting justice? Are you just here for free entertainment? Do you think victim stories don't matter enough to warrant your support? I'm genuinely curious about your reasoning, because silence in the face of injustice makes you complicit. London Thomas deserved better. She deserved to graduate from high school, to go to prom in that dress she picked out, to fall in love with someone who truly loved her back. She deserved to spread her wings like that butterfly tattoo on her neck and become whoever she wanted to be. All of that was stolen from her by people she trusted. Her memory lives on in her family's hearts, in the investigators who never gave up, and in everyone who hears her story and vows to do better. Subscribe if you want to be part of that legacy. Comment if you learned something that could save a life, because London's death will only have meaning if it prevents other families from experiencing this nightmare.
All rise. 22nd District Court is now in session with the Honorable Judge Sabrina Johnson presiding.
Good morning, everyone. Please be seated.
Good morning.
Case number 25-1709 and 25-1710 FY People versus Charlotte Pendergrass, People versus Jalen Pendergrass. Appearances.
And good.
Dominic
My apologies.
DeGrazia, P69815 on behalf of the people.
And good morning, Your Honor. For the record, Terry Johnson, P70773 on behalf of Ms. Charlotte Pendergrass, who is present and stands to my left.
Good morning. Good morning.
May it please the court, Judge. My name is Adam Clements. My P number is 77233. I'll appear on behalf of Mr. Pendergrass. State your name for the record, please.
Good morning, Ms. Mann. All right, this is the date and time scheduled for arraignment. Do you wish to have the charges read? Mr. Johnson.
Your Honor, for purposes of arraignment, we'll waive formal reading on behalf of Ms. Pendergrass, and we'd like to enter a plea of, ask court in a plea of not guilty.
Very well. As to Ms. Pendergrass, the court will now plead not guilty. As to Mr. Jalen Pendergrass.
Your Honor, we waive the formal reading of the information that's to allow the defendant to stand and have a plea of not guilty entered on his behalf.
All right, court will now plead not guilty on behalf of Mr. Pendergrass. As to bond for Ms. Charlotte Pendergrass.
Your Honor, while I understand that these charges are very serious, I'd like the court to take into consideration the mere fact that this matter. I'm sorry. Oh, Your Honor, I'm sorry, I'm normally used to a prosecutor being in the courtroom. My apologies, Mr. DeGrazia.
Judge, I'd ask that there be no bond set for each defendant, or alternatively, a very high cash bond. Regarding Ms. Charlotte Pendergrass, she does not have any criminal history. However, she is charged with second-degree murder. And I think, more importantly for bond purposes, this is a case where the evidence, I believe, will be abundant that both defendants, but particularly Ms. Charlotte Pendergrass, engaged in a extended campaign to lie to the police, lie to law enforcement to cover up her actions. She was originally charged with lying to a peace officer, which was later dismissed because an FBI agent is not a peace officer within Michigan. But the point is that Ms. Charlotte Pendergrass, I don't believe, can be trusted to follow the orders of the court. She has shown in the past her willingness to be deceptive, to be untrustworthy, and given the serious nature of these charges and the circumstances behind the actual crime itself, I'm asking that there be no bond for Ms. Charlotte Pendergrass, or alternatively a very high cash bond.
Mr. Johnson, you wish to respond?
I do. Your Honor, I'm just rather shocked that the prosecutor can say that my client is not able to follow court orders. This court is aware Ms. Pendergrass was placed on a bond, a high bond, and Ms. Pendergrass followed all of those bond conditions. Not a single time was there any allegations that she violated or did anything that she should not have done. As a matter of fact, Your Honor, even after the case was dismissed, that was back in August, so about 3 months ago, she's done absolutely nothing. She has nothing to hide. The problem is she didn't cooperate with the police in a manner in which the police wanted her to cooperate. To come forth and say no cash bond, or to say no bond or a very high cash bond is ridiculous. She is not a flight risk. She's been here at every single court event, and I would ask that if the court sets a bond, that it be a reasonable bond. Again, based upon her actions that this court has saw, not the allegations that have been put forth by the people.
Would the court like me to address Mr. Jalen Pendergrass, Judge?
In just 1 second, I have just a couple of questions. Where does she work?
She's a caregiver, Your Honor.
She's someone who lives in the home?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. And the address we have for her on Roth, is that the best address?
What street, Your Honor?
Roth. Okay, so if, Mr. Johnson, if you can make sure we have an updated address for her.
I will take care of
That's
that.
not the correct address. But the address that is correct, how long has she been there?
Approximately a year, Your Honor. Is this the address out county, outside of Inkster?
Whatever her current home address is, how long has she been associated with her current home address?
Oh, over a year.
Okay. All right, court, in consideration of the charges, in consideration of public safety, and I am concerned about the charges that include tampering with evidence and or allegations of not being cooperative with the police. The court is going to set the bond at $5 million cash. And you are not to leave the state of Michigan without permission of the court. If you do make bond, you'll be on a GPS tether. You may not be in possession of any weapons, ammunition, drugs, or alcohol, and you can have a seat for the moment. Mr. DeGrassi asks to Mr. Jalen Pendergrass.
Well, obviously, Your Honor, the seriousness of the charges are severe. I would ask for no bond or very high cash bond, but Mr. Pendergrass specifically, he again, like his mother, showed a willingness to lie to police and to deceive police. But more than that, he is presently charged in Oakland County with making a false report of a felony. He was originally given a tether bond, which was reduced. And since that bond was reduced, it's my understanding that the defendant has recently been arrested under suspicion of operating while intoxicated. Now, it's my understanding he hasn't been charged with that crime, but he's at least has had police contact while he's been on bond in a pending case in Oakland County. So for those reasons, Your Honor, I again ask for no bond or a very high cash bond.
Yes, Judge, what I would say on behalf of Mr. Pendergrass is it's interesting and rich that the prosecutor brings up my client's Oakland County case, cases which I believe undeniably will be dismissed. The reason why my client's bond was decreased in that particular matter is because the case is in fact so weak. But nonetheless, Judge, I'm in a venue where litigation is underway. We have a motion to dismiss that's pending in that regard, and I think that we'll be successful. But I think what's pointed in this particular case is that in that particular matter, my client was placed on a house arrest tether. During that particular time, he never missed court, he never violated any conditions of his bond. But moreover, and more importantly, as it relates to this investigation, in this case, when did Mr. Pendergrass ever flee the jurisdiction? When did he ever run from law enforcement? When did he ever refuse to come in and meet with them? And it's news to me that he ever provided any false statements. I'm sure Mr. DeGrazia will give you some discovery to that effect, but I've never seen any of that information to suggest that he's provided any false information to law enforcement. So rather than attack a criminal history, the prosecution is asking the court to look at allegations that didn't even lead to a charge as it relates to an OWI. And that's purposeful. And the reason for that is because my client has no significant criminal history that the prosecution can point to. He's been compliant throughout this entire ordeal. So to somehow suggest that he would be a flight risk when he's never fled or done anything to that effect suggests that he's a flight risk simply because we decided to charge him after 6 months. So what I'm asking the court to do in this particular matter is to consider the fact that if the defendant is compliant all the way through, retains counsel, and does everything he's asked to do, at what point do we actually respect the fact that he's presumed innocent? I'm asking the court to set bond in this particular matter at $100,000 cash surety. My client can go on a house arrest tether. He's not employable right now. We don't have any objection to him being on house arrest, and he's already demonstrated that he can comply. But more compelling than anything, judges, he's looking forward to having an opportunity to finally have his name cleared. We want the evidence to be brought forth just like everyone else does, because as of right now, only the prosecution has that evidence. We've never seen anything that suggests that he's broken the law in relationship to the death of London Thomas, or that he's obstructed justice in any way at all. So for those reasons, Judge, I'm asking for a fair and reasonable. Thank you.
Again, considering the factors that this court must consider in order to set bond or any type of pre-trial release, given the nature of the charges, was Mr. Pendergrass working at or around the time of the incident? And if so, where and how long?
Well, at the time, at what period of time?
Back in April.
Well, he wasn't allowed to work, Judge, once he was charged in Oakland.
Okay. What was he doing before that? Where was he working?
He was not working that day.
Okay. All right, and so the court is going to remand Mr. Pendergrass, sitting no bond given the nature of the charges. And we need to set a probable cause conference date. Is everyone available to zoom in for a probable cause conference on the 22nd of October,
What time will that be, Your Honor?
9 a.m.?
Yes, Your
I'm
Honor.
sorry, Judge, I didn't catch that date.
October 22nd, 9 a.m. for PCC on Zoom.
On behalf of Ms. Pendergrass, Your Honor, I'm available, or will make myself available.
I made it work.
All right, Mr. Grassi, you're good with that?
That's fine, Judge.
All right, and, we'll set dates for next year. We'll set dates. I was gonna try and see if we could pick exam dates since I have all of you here and everybody's got a calendar.
Oh, I understand, Your Honor. I would hope, once we receive discovery,
And you'll have a better idea of how we need to schedule.
hopefully I'll get it all this time.
All right. We'll see how far it's on the 22nd, 9 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. You should have a great day.
We're off the